Strangely beautiful, beautiful, strange.
Please forgive me for this personal video, but with this being Autism Awareness Week, I just wanted to briefly explain how Prince's music has always helped and continues to help me deal with being autistic. I've always been autistic, which is a really strange thing for me to be able to say, as I was only finally diagnosed less than 1 year ago at the age of 43. Autism is a lifelong condition that cannot be cured and affects the way autistic people interact and experience the world. And for me, I was simply born at a time when autism was essentially not known about to any great degree. Whilst there is a wide range of abilities and issues on the autistic spectrum, it is also a binary condition in that you either have the condition or you don't. After developing a number of difficulties as a child, such as speech issues, lack of social interaction, obsessive tendencies, intense interests, lining everything up in a row, and many, many more, my parents did all they could and took me to speech therapists and psychiatrists, but unfortunately autism was not understood at the time, and so professionals were unaware of the signs to look for. I struggled socially, and my obsessions became more intense. I would also murmur certain words, have to say words in a certain order, walk around paving slabs in a very specific way, and I also had constant intrusive thoughts, which continue to the present, where I feel that I must touch a certain item or count a certain number of things, as if I don't, then I will die. I still struggle with my slightly weird speech patterns to this day. It was at the age of 14 that Prince changed everything. I was playing in my yard with a ball, and I was wearing my headphones listening to the top 40. I have a certain thing for headphones, and always have to own 9 pairs. Whenever I go out, I take a pair and have to have 3 backups in case they fail. The top 40 then played the track Bat Dance. I'd never heard anything like it. This striking voice shouted, "Get the funk up!" The electronic samples and drum effects were utterly different from anything I'd heard. The guitar solo was flowing, growling, fiery, passionate. Who was this band? They were amazing. Then the DJ said the words that started a lifelong journey. And that was Bat Dance by the one and only Prince. From that point on, Prince became my special interest. Autistic people very often have intense special interests, from bus timetables to animals to plug sockets to music. Mine was Prince. Well, and road safety. In my secret enclosed space of headphones, I could shut out the world. Like many autistic people, I hear all sounds on the same level, so people talking in a room, even if they are spread out, sounds like this to me. But one of the great benefits of my autism is that I have very intense focus. So by focusing exclusively on Prince's music, I was safe in a world I knew, a world full of funk, joy and fascination. The downside is that I focus so much that I often forget to drink anything, and so I use a special gadget on my drink to remind me that I actually do need to drink something at some point. Another benefit is that I cannot ever be bored and haven't spent a single moment of my life bored in any way. I also have an obsession about the numbers 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, although I always see 9 as a 5 and a 4, and the 4 is made up of a 3 and a 1. It's a little weird, but it means I love Prince tracks such as 7 even more. I also view everything in the world through the prism of triangles, so literally everything is connected in this way. For example, this is how Prince's symbol appears to my mind. Sadly, as I was undiagnosed, I spent many years struggling to function well in employment, as aside from the social terror of interviews, I have a degree of face blindness, which means I cannot recognise other people other than those I know really well, and I also don't understand the rules of small talk or non-verbal communication. I also take expressions very literally, so if someone told me to walk around the block a couple of times or wait 30 seconds, I would do exactly and precisely that. I cannot read people's emotions very well, and so Prince became a way to explain emotions to me. He would sing about love, lust, religion and politics. He would put into context love, hate, joy and loneliness. Prince also became a role model for me in terms of his work rate, his creativity and his charity. Pretty soon, my mind became like this, on a slow day. I began obsessively acquiring every piece of Prince's music I could, playing them over and over again. I wore out 2 VHS copies of Love Sexy. I sought out albums in every record store I visited, and when the internet was born, a whole world of Princeton became open to me. This was a huge step for me, as at my school I was the only Prince fan, and none of my friends felt the way I did about his work. The online Prince community became a way for someone with autism to interact with people about Prince without having to struggle with the many emotional aspects of having face-to-face friends, which I seldom had. Through this community I have grasped the confidence to attend Prince parties, something I never thought I'd do, meet people I never thought I'd meet, and even start my own little YouTube Prince channel. Part of autism means I stick to routines and do the same things the very same way every time, and am fearful of new experiences, so Prince's music truly allowed me to push through some of those difficulties. It still terrifies me, and I plan for ages, but I do try. In 2018, after decades of being misdiagnosed with depression, OCD, anxiety and many other conditions, all of which I have, but they are comorbid conditions that are ones that are simply more common with people with autism, it was suggested to me that I was autistic. I didn't believe it, but I was referred by my doctor and I was seen by the UK's leading specialists at the world-renowned Lorna Wing Institute at the National Autistic Centre. After a very long and detailed diagnosis involving many different tests, reports, conversations and witnesses, I was finally told I was autistic. I'd always been, and in today's world I may have been diagnosed earlier. Contrary to belief, most autistic people can be quite emotional, although not always appropriately, and I reacted by crying, not with sadness but with relief and joy. I've been fighting for decades against my condition, blaming myself and thinking I could just will myself better, concentrate harder, somehow beat it. Prince's music was there at every step, and he supported autism charities with concerts and told the founder of one charity that he himself suspected he might be on the spectrum. Throughout it all, Prince's music was the constant, and for autistic people change is terrifying, and whilst Prince changed and evolved, he was always essentially Prince. He made me feel that it was okay to be who you were, even if other people didn't understand that or thought you were weird. He wore whatever he liked, which inspired me, as I only wear blue, black and white clothes with odd socks. He trusted the voice in his head, whilst mine terrified me, and he was brave and fearless, whereas everything worried me. As part of autism, I would experience autistic meltdowns, where I would become extremely overloaded and repeat thoughts over and over again, and I would also stim. Stimming is different from most autistic people, but often involves scratching or repetitive movements on their body to relieve anxiety. I scratched the back of my neck repeatedly. Without Prince's music, I would have missed out on so much. I wouldn't be online. I wouldn't have a Prince channel. I wouldn't have met Ida Nelson, Ingrid Chavez, the new Power generation, and so many remarkable Prince YouTubers out there who are like family to me, or the wider Purple community who just lift me up every day. Prince's music also helped me to train for a number of half marathons where I ran to raise money for the National Autistic Society. His music is the best training motivator you can possibly have. I've been fortunate enough to find a truly supportive employer and one that allows me to take steps that help me, such as sitting in a corner in the office and working a job share. Keeping or finding a job is difficult for most autistic people, and just 16% of autistic people in the UK are in full-time employment. That's a shame because autistic employees have so much to offer in so many fields, such as technology and design, where thinking differently and outside the box can be valued. We tend to look at most things in a different way to the norm. Whilst I will always be autistic and it is central to who I am, without the portal of Prince allowing me to experience the connections with the people I have and to use Prince's music when I became overloaded and needed to decompress, my life would have been so much poorer in so many ways. I have my own Prince room, which allows me to escape from the world when I need to. And although my mind is neurodiverse, I like to think of it as neuro-funky and blessed, because no matter what jobs I've struggled to keep, no matter what emotions I've struggled to understand, no matter what obsessive thoughts and actions I've encountered, no matter how many of society's social norms I've misunderstood or been confused by, there was an escape, a place where everyone is welcome, a place where there aren't any rules, the Paisley Park of my mind.